Good afternoon, everyone. It is great to see everyone. A lot of smiling faces, a lot of wonderful conversation. I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't seen each other in a while. It's good to see everybody. Welcome to Laurel Manor for today's State of the City program, featuring Mayor Maureen Brosnan. I am Dan West, the President of Livonia Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. We've endured a lot of challenges over the past couple of years, and today's event is a great opportunity to reconnect and learn about the good things happening in our community. We look forward to hearing more from the mayor shortly. At this time, would everyone please rise for the presentation of the colors from Livonia Police Department Honor Guard with Officers Joe Scott, McKaylee Mitchell, Steve Gannon, Daniel Sullivan, and Joel Anders.
Detailed, halt, right, face, ready, post. Present, arms. Order, arms. Ready, face. Hard time, march. Forward, march.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Livonia Clarenceville High School seniors Ashley Ortiz and Rachel Meyer.
Those in uniform, please salute, and everyone else, hand on heart. Now please join us as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley and Rachel. Please remain standing for the invocation that will be offered this afternoon by Pastor Jason Adams of the Way Church. Over the past year, Pastor Adams and his congregation have significantly contributed towards reinvigorating the Livonia Service Corps, a city-organized effort connecting people to community service opportunities. For his efforts, the mayor recognized him with the first Heart of Livonia Award last fall. Please welcome to the stage Pastor Jason Adams. I don't know what to do. I guess if we may come together, please bless our community. Thank you for this day together as a community. We bless the mayor and the city officials and the residents and the businesses and the students and all components of the community that make Livonia such a wonderful place. Let this gathering be an opportunity for us to come together as a community, learn more, and definitely look forward to brighter days. In your name, amen. Yeah, so. Now you may be seated. I've done this event 16 years. I've never done the invocation. So you talk about being nimble. So. All right, We are grateful for the community partners who graciously supported these events. As you can imagine, these events are not inexpensive ventures to put together, and we're very grateful for our sponsors today. Let's start with our presenting sponsors, St. Mary Mercy Livonia, Schoolcraft College, Bill Brown Ford, Ashley Capital, NYX LLC, and Masco Corporation. Thanks to our presenting sponsors. This afternoon's revamped program includes a networking gathering behind the wall there after the mayor's presentation for those who would like to visit a while longer. We are thankful for our mixer sponsors for supporting that part of today's program. Jimmy John's Restaurants, Embassy Title Agency, Beaumont, La Fontaine Imports of Livonia, and the law firm of Fosson Bond. Thanks to our mixer sponsors. And while we are excited to hear our mayor and what she has to say today, there are some other places in the world where people are not so thrilled about their mayor. This is a summary of actual reports involving mayors elsewhere in the world. I could not make these up if I tried. For example, the mayor of San Marino, California, resigned in 2014 after he was caught scooping up dog poop and chucking it on his neighbor's lawn. He was so disappointed in his actions, he relieved himself of his duties, and police also cited him for littering. Out of frustration, some other people in other towns have tried to place some interesting candidates on their ballots to become mayor. In the Kentucky village of Rabbit Hash, the residents voted in a dog as mayor 3 times since 1998, including the city's first female mayor, a border collie named Lucy Liu, in 2008. Disillusioned with corruption, residents in the remote Russian city of Barnaul gave polling momentum to a cat running as mayor in that town. In an unofficial poll, Barczyk, an 18-month-old cat, got 91% of the vote. His campaign pollster read, "Only mice don't vote for Barczyk." And then it happens in big cities, too. In London in 2000, Winnie, a 265-pound pig, was advanced as a candidate, fueled by a farmer's protest. The pig advanced a 10-oink plan for capital, but was eventually told she could not be on the ballot because she wasn't human. A human by the name of Ken Livingstone was eventually elected mayor that year. We may have our disagreements in Livonia, but at least we haven't campaigned for a pet. So, at this time, I would like to take an opportunity to make you aware of some upcoming Livonia Chamber events that really focus on interpersonal skills, something that I think we can all benefit from. During a luncheon on Tuesday, April 12th, we welcome noted journalists Nolan Finley and Stephen Henderson for the Civility Project, a program sponsored by Beaumont, Madonna, and Consumers Energy. These gentlemen will lead a discussion on how they can remain friendly and be civil despite the fact they have different political leanings. This event will take place at 11:30 a.m. at Burton Manor. During another luncheon on Tuesday, May 3rd, we will welcome Dr. John Milnarczyk from PCS Counseling for guidance on how to manage our digital health so we don't get too consumed by our devices. This event, sponsored by Fosson Bond, will take place at 11:30 a.m. at the Schoolcraft College Vista Tech Center. And finally, the Livonia Chamber and the Livonia Human Relations Commission are partnering to lead a series of diversity, equity, inclusion discussions called Inclusion Roundtables. The first one is 3 p.m. Wednesday, May 11th at the Livonia Chamber office with a simple focus: forget the labels and connect with people in a judgment-free forum. These gatherings will be free and open to Livonia business people and residents. We plan to do 3 of them this year. For more details on this and all our events, please visit our website, livonia.org. One of the fundamental things we do at the Livonia Chamber of Commerce is connect people to ideas, places, and each other. As we adjusted to the challenges of the past 2 years, we continue to explore appropriate ways to engage and connect people. Thanks to Mayor Brosnan's complete support, our growing partnership with Livonia Parks and Recreation, and the generous support of many of our businesses, we were able to quickly develop 2 community events last year that were designed to give Livonians a chance to reconnect. Last July, and you see the pictures on the screen right now, we organized the Love Livonia Party, an adult-only outdoor gathering at our Ford Field with 2 bands, food trucks, some libations, and most importantly, each other. Some 1,000 people joined us on a comfortable summer evening that gave us a fun opportunity to reconnect with our friends and neighbors. We plan to do this again this September, so we will start the summer with the Livonia Spree and end the summer with the Love Livonia Party. Then in December, we organized the Night of Lights display with Santa visits and other family activities. This family-focused outdoor event gave many Livonians a chance to connect with our Greenmead Historic Village. In all, some 2,500 people walked through Greenmead for this program over the 3 weekends leading up to Christmas. We also plan to do this event again this December, maybe with a few more lights. Both of these events did not exist 2 years ago, but the mayor and her team was fully behind these innovative efforts to re-engage with our family and our neighbors and our friends. Now that we have 2 new community events designed to help us all have fun, enjoy our community, and stay connected. Now, I know the mayor joins me in expressing our sincerest appreciation to all of you for being here today and for all that you contribute to the community. At this time, I would like to introduce the elected officials and other special guests who have joined us today. As I announce your name, please stand. Please remain standing, and audience, please hold off on applause until all are introduced. All right, from the Livonia City Council, Scott Barr, Rob Donovic, Brandon McCullough, Kathleen McIntyre, Scott Morgan, we got City Treasurer Linda Scheel, we have Wayne County Sheriff Raphael Washington, we have Wayne County Commissioner Terry Marecki, Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson, Livonia 16th District Court Judge Sean Kavanaugh, Livonia 16th District Court Judge Kathleen McCann, Michigan 3rd Circuit Court Judge Don Knapp. From Livonia Public Schools, we have Superintendent Andrea Oquist. From the Board of Education, Mark Johnson, Colleen Burton, Madeline Acosta. From Clarenceville Schools, we have Superintendent Paul Schepeck and Board Member Dennis Myers. From the Schoolcraft College, we have President Dr. Glenn Cerny, and we have trustees Carol Strom and Brett Gierak. We have former Livonia City Councilman Brandon Kritzman, Joe Laura, John Pastor, Jim McCann, and Brian Meekin. Jim Jolly's here? Okay, Jim. Council President Jim Jolly is here. Welcome, Jim. Please stand. Yeah. Sorry. Brian Broderick from Livonia, from Schoolcraft College Board of Trustees. Anyone else? Thank you. Please acknowledge our elected officials. All right, and now it's my pleasure to introduce an inspiring community leader who will formally introduce the mayor this afternoon. Paul Schepeck has been the superintendent of Clarenceville School District since July of 2014, after serving as principal at Clarenceville High School for 10 years. He previously worked as a teacher, coach, and administrator for school districts in Michigan and Texas. He is a UP native, a proud Packer fan, and he earned the bachelor's and master's degree from Central Michigan University. He's a passionate educator who has always been driven to serve his students and community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Paul Schepeck.
Good afternoon, and thank you. I told this mayor earlier, this is a great honor for me, and I hope I don't mess it up. So, what a last couple years it's been. But over the last year, the city of Livonia and a number of community organizations came together to sponsor the Be Kind Livonia program. And I am proud to have served on that committee. The Be Kind project initially started as a way to highlight the value of kindness during the challenging times of the last couple years. Who can't use more kindness in our world today? So it was a great project. And more than that, it has become sort of a slogan for the city of Livonia, as people have committed themselves to take the opportunity to seek out ways to be a source of kindness to others in our community. Many neighborhood lawn signs, Be Kind, spreading the message, and many people took the challenge of being the I in kind in front of the many banners that are scattered throughout the city. This community effort grew into a way to support one group who has definitely faced their share of challenges during the pandemic: our teachers, our educators, who have navigated transitioning from in-person to virtual learning to mask mandates, back to in-person, and all of the other challenges in between that confronted them over the last 2 years. Representatives from the Be Kind team have visited all of the Livonia schools, both in the Livonia Public School District and the Clarenceville School District. And on behalf of all of the teachers from both districts, all of the educators, I want to say thank you. I also want to recognize a community leader, Chuck Dardis of Alpha USA and Livonia Kids and Families, who played an integral role in not only the Be Kind Livonia initiative, but who has led by example in many ways by supporting schools and other community organizations. We have learned through these difficult challenges, this time that we face together, that we all can contribute to the efforts to make Livonia a community of people who care about one another through simple acts of kindness. It's not really that hard. On behalf of all the educators in both of a Clarenceville School District and the Livonia School District, I want to thank the team of the Be Kind Livonia effort for supporting our educators during this time and for bringing kindness into our buildings over the last month and a half by providing gift bags and pizza parties, and it just lifted the spirits of all of us in the schools. So please, all of those people here who had a role in the Be Kind Livonia project, I would really like if you'd stand to be recognized at this time. The Be Kind Livonia is a great example of the way our community comes together in partnership to deliver for our residents. You know, I'm going to tell just a quick side story. I'm going off script real quick because it's important for me. I had cancer, and I was stage 3, and I beat it. But and that's not why I mention it, to be honest. I'm happy I beat it. Don't get me wrong. But something happened in that year and a half that I was battling, going through chemo and not feeling well and trying to work and the stresses of everything going on with the pandemic. I had a group of people show up on my lawn. People I didn't know. They weren't from my school. They were just from the community. And they came and they performed song after song for me to lift my spirits as they exercised on my lawn. And I'll never forget that. And to me, that was a kindness that I'll never be able to repay. So it's out there. We might hear about a lot of the bad things going on or this or that, and we have our grumblings for this or that, but I'll tell you right now, there is more good than there is bad, both in our community and our school districts. So let's lift up the good. That's my side note. In the recent months, in Michigan, school safety has become, unfortunately, needed to be on all of our minds due to the tragic event that took place at the Oxford Community Schools. I'll tell you, the City of Livonia and the Livonia Police Department have always been tremendous partners with the Clarenceville School District when it comes to keeping our students and staff safe. And I'm proud that this relationship is continuing to grow with the exploring of the possibility of bringing back school resource officers to our school district and the crisis training that the Livonia Police Department provided our staff earlier this year. It was outstanding, and it really helped our teachers find peace of mind. This is such an important step for our students and our community, and it is only possible because of this partnership. And I stress partnership. Both the Be Kind program and our work to double down on school safety emerged out of a commitment to partnerships as a way to move forward. And we want our city to move forward as well as our schools. So setting the tone of emerging and growing partnerships in our community, the main person that's leading that charge, from my perspective, is our mayor, Maureen Brosnan. At City Hall, Mayor Brosnan has worked to break down silos, bringing together departments from across the city to deliver for our community. And in the community, she does the same thing. She brings people together from various organizations and backgrounds. She brings them together to solve problems and move Livonia forward. I'm sure she's going to talk a little bit about that in her remarks today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the mayor of the city of Livonia, Maureen Brosnan.
Podiums. I got to walk and talk in order to help us all understand how much progress we've made this year. I want to thank you all for being here today, and thank you, Superintendent Schepeck. That was a wonderful introduction, and I love the theme of partnership because it is so significant to so much of what we're going to talk about today. I also want to thank Jason Adams for his role today and the students of Clarenceville High School for coming together to set the tone, to set that tone of an uplifting atmosphere, and to our Livonia Police Honor Guard who set the pomp and circumstance in place for us this afternoon. Dan West and the Chamber of Commerce, hats off to you guys. You have done an amazing job today. You know, Dan reminded me when I came into the room tonight that we've come a long way, baby. When we first did our first State of the City, it was literally Dan and I in a studio with 5 technicians very, very far away from us because we had just gotten hit with COVID, taping a State of the City address. Last year, only a small fraction of you were gathered with us at Burton Manor, seated 6 feet apart, in a very, very tiny gathering, but still trying to inform everybody about all the good things that were coming. So the fact that I can see faces from here clear to the back of the room is really an amazing accomplishment, and it really does show how far we've come. I want to thank our team, our Livonia television crew and our communications team for the creativity that they brought and the energy that they've brought to this event. I hope that you're feeling it. The set design is one that we've really been working on for a while. We are live streaming this event, and we're also posting it on YouTube Live and all of our other social media channels. So once again, trying to make sure that we're reaching people where they're at with our message. I also want to thank my family who's here today. My mom and dad, they're seated in the front row, and this is the first State of the City that they actually get to see live and in person. So thank you both so much. They're a big part of why I'm here today, and a lot of what I represent comes because I am the daughter of Karen and Dick Miller. And then I want to recognize my fiance, Greg Dimmitt. He's here in the front row as well. And Greg is the one who gets to hear all these stories first when I come home at the end of the day. So if he nods off, it's because he's heard this all oh so many times. You know, I say this all the time, and I really do truly mean it. It is an incredible honor to be the mayor of the city of Livonia, the mayor of my hometown, and I absolutely love this job. But I do think that the best part of the job is being the city's chief storyteller. I'm actually thinking of having the title changed on my business card to say chief storyteller. Today you're going to hear a lot of stories. Stories of success, stories of advocacy, stories of problem solving. But here's the thing, these are not my stories. These are your stories. These are the stories of our community. These are stories that accurately reflect the innovative work of an incredibly talented and dedicated team of people that every day I am honored to get to work right alongside of. A team of 21 department heads and over 600 employees. Every one of them has a role to play in our city's success and in our future. They work passionately every day to make our story possible. If those department heads would please stand, I really do want you to recognize them with a really big round of applause. Just to show you how different things are, last year they were all seated outside of this room. They were in the green room and they were my hype squad, getting me all fired up before I took the stage, and I kind of miss that energy today, but it is really good to look out into the audience at the faces of people that I am familiar with and the fantastic work that they do. Also, we don't do our work alone. We do it in conjunction with a phenomenal city council. These are people that are dedicated to make the very best things happen for our city. And if you would all please rise, I know you were recognized just a minute ago, but I personally want to say thank you for the awesome work that you've been doing with us. Please stand. So this is where our chapter ended last year. So let's pick up where we left off. Today, we're going to talk a lot about how this group of people stepped up, how they got more agile, how they harnessed creativity, how they came together to provide world-class service to our community. And I call this answering the call. And it's a big part of our city story from last year. There is no doubt COVID-19 touched every decision we made, every action we took, and it had a profound impact on the way that we did business. But today, we come together with a hopeful vision for life after COVID-19 and what it looks like. Today, we are in a position of hope because healthcare workers and first responders across our city and our region answered the call to help keep us safe and to help keep us all healthy. Our city is primed to emerge into a new chapter because of the work of our firefighters, our city volunteers, and our CERT volunteers, as well as our city employees. We supported our residents in long-term care facilities through an effective and a very targeted program that we called Together Livonia Cares. It was designed to bring life-saving resources early on in the pandemic to those who were hit the hardest and to those who were suffering as a result of the continuous waves of infection that kept coming back around. So through that program and our efforts to vaccinate Livonia, 1 out of every 5 vaccinated Livonia residents received their vaccine at our Livonia Senior Center from a member of our Livonia Fire and Rescue Squad. Now that number bears repeating. 1 out of every 5 Livonia residents stepped through the doors of our Livonia Senior Center. They received their COVID vaccine at a time when the pandemic was raging. Mayors from all over the state have asked me how we were able to do that. How could we possibly have organized and gotten around a collaborative effort that big and that exhaustive in a community? Well, there was no way that we could have done it if we didn't have firefighters that stepped up. Firefighters who raised their hands and volunteered to take on the extra hours that it was going to take in order to vaccinate all of those people. We have a large delegation of our firefighters here today. If you would all please stand, we want to recognize you. This was a remarkable, truly life-saving effort. And everybody in our community had an opportunity to experience either testing that was administered by the firefighters or vaccines that were administered by the firefighters, resources brought into our long-term care facilities by those firefighters. Together, we answered the call for the entire community, and I think that's something we can all be proud of. And I want you to clap really loud for that effort. So our work fighting COVID isn't quite over yet. We continue to fight COVID. And maybe you've seen the billboards along I-96 and the Facebook ads that have been done in conjunction with our partners at Wayne County. Together, we're operating a vaccination and a testing clinic still at our Livonia Senior Center. And it continues to operate every day, offering tests and vaccinations. So we really are grateful to Wayne County for continuing to bring all of those resources to our community. You know, we learned a lot about ourselves during COVID-19. One lesson that we can't afford to lose sight of is the need to support our community's mental health, especially the mental health of our seniors. Recently, the Livonia Housing Commission conducted a survey of 200 of our residents who live in our 6 independent living facilities in the city. And here's what we found. We found that 38% of residents said that social isolation had affected their mental health in the last year. We found that 36% of them reported feeling some kind of increased level of grief as a result of the pandemic. But it's not just the numbers that are so jarring. For me, what was important was hearing their stories, hearing what they had to say. So we've put together a piece here that I want you to have an opportunity to listen to so that you can hear the voices of the people in our community that have been impacted by the lasting effects of COVID-19.
You know, when we started the COVID response with testing and vaccinating our citizens, both in the senior complexes and at the senior center, our crews were able to interact with these folks on a very personal level. Many of them had been isolated for a very long time. They had not been out to see anybody, their family, their loved ones, their friends. Our crews were some of the first people that a lot of these folks had the ability to encounter. And what our crews noticed is these folks were truly saddened. They were scared. They had been isolated for a long time. And they picked up very quickly that these people, in many instances, were suffering with a lot of anxiety, depression, and they truly were in need of assistance.
And over time, they became fearful to go out and start engaging in the community once activities and social functions started ramping back up. During a survey that we completed, we found that at least 25% of the seniors within the communities were suffering from depression and anxiety. So then we started focusing on their emotional wellness.
People get in a habit of doing different things, which now is staying home. And it's changed their personalities a lot, where everybody used to be very open, went and visited everybody, but they don't do that anymore.
I want to see people interact more and be more involved, because isolation isn't the key of life. It's interacting with people.
Across the last 2 years, COVID has provided us the opportunity to improve our understanding of our community's mental health needs. The City of Livonia has responded to these needs in multiple ways, meeting our residents wherever they are in need, whether that's calling senior residents who feel isolated as a result of the pandemic, offering crisis prevention trainings to residents of city-owned housing facilities, or connecting them with needed services through our crisis support team.
The Senior Emotional Wellness Program started over the summer with a survey that we did of the residents at the independent living facilities in the city of Livonia. We then did mental health first aid training with all of our housing staff in conjunction with the fire department. And we also offered some trainings for our seniors in the independent living facilities, which included Question, Persuade, Refer, which is a suicide awareness training, Mental Health 101, and conflict resolution.
I think everybody should be gone through it. I really do. Not because you're going to be called upon to go out and solve everybody's problems, but it helps you to understand people.
And so I've had my highs and my lows. And I sought counseling, but I realized there are a lot of people that I've come across in my lifetime that were shamed, and that, that the fear of rejection and, but they just, put it on a back burner, that they have a mental health issue.
I have found out since there that I do have days when I'm down, and I say some of the things that we learned to recognize other people. I find myself thinking the same way, and then how to address it. And it'll go away. But I find that very illuminating. I wouldn't have thought I was like that because I look at the overall picture, not little parts. I guess I'm the same as anybody else. I have the same problems and the same issues.
So we brought the letter writing campaign together through a partnership with Schoolcraft College, which actually came through a trainer that we used for our mental health first aid training. And we were able to partner with the Schoolcraft Student Activities Center to create Schoolcraft Students for Livonia Seniors, which brought together about 50 different people from Schoolcraft that came to the event and wrote the cards for the seniors, and then we were able to mail them out. So going forward, we intend on increasing the activities at our independent living facilities, as well as continuing on with our letter writing campaign and hopefully expanding it beyond just the 3 living facilities that our city owned. Also, we intend on doing more trainings and seminars for our seniors at their individual properties, so they're more able to attend the trainings and feel more comfortable doing so.
I think that moving forward, are we ever really going to see the old normal? I think what we're going to have is a new normal. Hopefully it's a new normal that will help us to place a better emphasis on the needs of the senior community and what they need, and that it does go beyond just providing an activity and hoping that people show up. It's an activity of engagement and learning and really getting to know who your support systems are.
In fact, I have one of my daughters, and she's getting a new home, and she's been after me to come live with her. I can't, because I have to give up everybody here. I would love to live with her. We get along fine. But I've got 120 people, and truly, we are all friends.
Don't you just love his honesty, that willingness to be so vulnerable in a tough situation? When I first saw the video that you just saw, I was extremely moved, but I was also extremely proud, really proud of the emphasis that our department has put, our city has put on the mental wellness, not just of the people that live in our senior citizen housing, but all of our residents in the city of Livonia. And I really want you to all just take a moment and applaud that type of deep, connective work that's being done. So another part of our city's response to our community's mental health needs is coming through our police department in terms of our crisis support team. Over the past 7 months, the crisis support team has received over 250 referrals from our officers, and we've helped to connect 113 people with the mental health services that they need. This program is making a difference. It is having a true impact. It's reducing the number of repeat calls for service that are coming to the police department. It's providing more residents with access to the many programs and the resources that are available in our community, and it's providing them at that exact moment when they need those resources the very most. Embedding a social worker, social workers, hopefully in the future, within our police department has been a groundbreaking initiative, not just for our city, but for our entire region. And since we started this effort, we've seen many of our neighboring communities, they've tried to follow suit in establishing their own programs. So I want to thank our partners, Hagera Health, for their work on the program. They're in the room today. If we can give them ask them to stand and give them a round of applause. We don't do this on our own. And I also want to thank Caitlin Witt. Caitlin Witt is the program's first social worker that's been embedded in the police department. And I think that Caitlin would tell you, along with me, that her role is deeply enhanced by the immense amount of support that she's gotten from the department itself. Caitlin, if you would please stand to be recognized for the work that you're doing. Thank you, Caitlin. So much of the work that I've highlighted so far in today's story has been the work of Livonia's first responders. And it's important to keep in mind that they've been providing these incredible services while at the same time navigating staffing shortages. So we've got a pandemic and we've got staffing shortages, and we're still increasing the amount of service and expanding the types of services that we're providing to our community. Not a pandemic, not staffing shortages, none of those things could keep the police department from being reaccredited by the Michigan Associations of Chiefs of Police this year. Now this is a big deal. Only 14 departments statewide were reaccredited through this program, and Livonia was one of them to recently be reaccredited. In fact, we were the largest agency in the state to receive this coveted designation. So the police department, many representatives are here today. If you would please stand, we wish to recognize you. You don't have to look hard to find countless examples of municipalities that are facing first responder shortages and challenges, just like Livonia was, and I'm going to emphasize the word was. Because a while ago, we took a big, bold first step in bringing back a defined benefits plan for Livonia's first responders, so that scenes like the one behind me, where we're swearing in, we have a swearing-in ceremony coming into City Hall any number of times during the course of a month, are now becoming more regular scenes at City Hall. I want to thank the City Council, our police and our fire leadership, along with our bargaining team and our union leaders, and I know there are some of the union leaders that are here in the room today, for joining me in believing that if we took care of the futures of our first responders, they'd continue taking care of our community. So if you would please, a round of applause for the huge effort that this has all taken. And all of these new hires are making a really big difference in our community. Over the last year, a fully staffed fire department has cut their response time by 5 seconds. In an emergency situation where every second matters, the men and women of the Livonia Fire Department are there that much quicker, helping our residents in need. The Livonia Fire Department is also breaking records for its hiring, not just because of the defined benefit plan, but because they've also put 12-hour shifts in place and other unique hiring programs and aggressive hiring methodologies. Last year, we added 31 new police officers and service aides. Look at this chart behind me. This is significant when you look at what's been happening to our police department over a couple decades, as a matter of fact, when you talk to Chief Goralski. He told me yesterday that this is the largest number of new hires that we have had in decades in the city of Livonia, and that is phenomenal. Now, this progress is continuing and the momentum is only growing, and that's why I can stand before you today and say very confidently that the goal of having a fully staffed Livonia Police Department is within reach this year. And that deserves a big round of applause. So while other communities are facing these shortages, these public safety shortages, Livonia has taken steps to regain ground as the #1 destination for police officers and firefighters who are looking to make a career in public safety. So let's take a moment and see exactly what our police department has been doing in terms of mounting these aggressive recruitment efforts and the benefits that a career as a police officer has for the city.
When I took office, I made addressing our public safety personnel shortage my #1 goal. While much of this success with recruitment started with the big, bold idea to bring back a defined benefit package for our first responders, it didn't stop there. The Livonia Police Department and its leadership have done a remarkable job of hitting the road to make sure that we share the message that the city of Livonia is an incredible community to make a career in public safety.
In 2021, we hired 16 new police officers and 15 new service aides. This was a record-setting year for our department and stands out among police departments in our region. We worked as a team to bring innovative ideas to the table. In the past year, we've added 12-hour shifts. In the past year, along with the mayor and the city council, we've been able to approve a defined benefit retirement package. We were losing officers to defined benefit cities, and now we're not. Now we're not losing anybody. Additionally, for law enforcement police officers, we have a wonderful lateral transfer program where experienced officers can come to Livonia Police Department and get the same pay as officers with the amount of time that they have in their other departments. This allows us to get officers in here with great experience, great life experience, and it has really helped with our recruiting efforts to get more officers in.
And I think that gives us advantage over other departments, that we actually want people. And I think the advantage, it actually grows our applicant pool, and we get to pick the best out of that applicant pool. So the bigger we can get the applicant pool, it's more advantageous for us. Now we're striving to get that one applicant that 10 departments are going after. So in order to attract that person, we're really highlighting our benefits, 12-hour shifts, lateral pay, and then what they would like to do in their career. That's one of the main questions we ask them is, what do you want to do in your career? What do you want to do 10 years from now? Some other departments, the only option they have is patrol and maybe 1 or 2 detective bureaus, where here we have everything from narcotics to surveillance to SWAT. You want to be a K-9 officer? Do you want to do traffic? So we really try to push that out to them.
And to help us get the word out, we have really increased our recruiting team. We've increased our marketing. We reached out into social media, which is where young professionals are and looking for jobs. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're going on YouTube. We're going everywhere that we think young, qualified candidates are looking for jobs, and we're attacking it, and it's really shown an increase in numbers.
The social media, I think, is the wave of the future. It's quicker, it's faster, you can just get more information to it. And the younger generation, I think that's what they seek out as opposed to going to a job fair. 5 years ago, I believe Livonia had a great reputation as far as the police work, and then other recruiting teams would try to hammer us a little bit on our benefit package. Now the word is out that not only do we have a great department as far as the nuts and bolts of the police department, now we're backing it up with a benefit package, and then once you throw in a lateral package or lateral transfer package, I think other departments are jealous, to be honest with you. It's just we have so much more to offer.
A fully staffed Livonia Police Department is critical to our community safety, and I'm proud of the work done to make accomplishing this goal a target that's clearly in sight in 2022.
So public safety is the foundation of any local government's work, and to be sure, our first responders have laid a strong foundation. But once you've got that foundation in place, what do? You build on it. And our plan to build out our city's future is, of course, our master plan, Livonia Vision 21, and I hope that many of you have heard me talk about this ad nauseum at this point. It is one of our passion projects here in the city, and every day we are seeing more and more evidence that our new zoning ordinance is really making a difference in our community. Nearly 1 million square feet of commercial, healthcare, and multifamily housing is under construction right now in the city of Livonia. We have partners like Ashley Capital to thank for helping us to move big projects along. Projects like the new construction site over at the old GM plant. Now, this was the last and hardest piece of property to develop in that industrial section of our city. And they are attracting new businesses to that space every single day. I was talking with Susan Harvey a minute ago, and apparently we're halfway leased over there. So things are really moving. Ashley Capital, if you would please stand, we want to recognize you for your hard work. In addition, we have more than 100 new single-family homes under construction in the city of Livonia, and Greg and I are building one of those so we can speak to the process and how exciting it is to be a home builder in a city that everybody said has been 97% built out and developed, and yet we are still finding ways to build new homes in our city. This is a remarkable amount of new construction, bringing new families to our city. I also want to acknowledge a few other invaluable community partners who've been making headlines lately in our community. Bill Brown Ford was recognized this year as America's #1 Ford dealer, and if they would please stand, they have been an outstanding community partner, and for those of you who know them in our community, you know that this recognition is really no surprise at all. They have been doing phenomenal work for a very long time in the city of Livonia, and we really want to congratulate them for this achievement. Congratulations, Bill Brown Ford. I also want to recognize the continued development projects on and around the Schoolcraft College campus. I swear, every time I drive over there, there is something new that has popped up. And they're not like little new things. They are big new things. We've got the Livonia Medical Center. It opened its doors, and it's a welcome addition to our city's healthcare infrastructure. We have representatives from Schoolcraft College as well as St. Mary Mercy Hospital and Trinity Health. If you would all please stand, you are making remarkable differences in our community. Add to all of that energy on the campus, the Mercy Elite Sports Center. It's also now open, and a key way that perhaps a lot of our Livonia residents, and especially our younger people, are engaging in health and wellness activities. Not to be outdone, we've got Beaumont in the house today, and if they would please stand. Their new outpatient campus is going to be opening soon in Livonia, offering a lot of residents a way to live in one of the healthiest cities in America. Thank you, Beaumont, very much. I also want to take a moment to recognize D&B Landscaping. D&B Landscaping has been providing landscaping to the city of Livonia for a number of years at a number of our locations. But none is perhaps as meaningful as the landscaping that they've been providing to us at Larry Nee Hazel Park. If our friends at D&B Landscaping would please stand. You know, if you haven't had a chance yet to head over to Larry Nee Hazel Park, it is really a wonderful place to take just a solemn moment and reflect on the sacrifices that people have made for our residents, that officers and firefighters and others have made for our residents. And D&B Landscaping pays great tribute to that work with the groundskeeping that they've done there and all of the additional plantings that you've brought to the site. So thank you for your continued support. We appreciate it. So the last year has also seen the welcome return of countless ribbon cuttings, and one of these was for our very own Department of Public Works building, which was recently named Project of the Year. This is a really big deal, folks. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to Traverse City, I believe toward the end of May, to accept this award along with our folks from DPW. It's an award that's given to us in honor by the Michigan chapter of the American Public Works Association. So when you drive by that building, just recognize that it is already getting all sorts of attention around the country as one of an award-winning building. So congratulations to the folks at DPW. There were a lot of other really memorable ribbon cuttings through the year, and I really do love that they're coming back. Because it gives us a chance to celebrate with these new businesses, and it gives me a chance to get out there and hear about people's stories of struggle and success. And you know, look at those businesses; they have phenomenal free samples. So it's just one of the many bonuses of being the mayor. But no, we're really glad to have all of them back. You know, Livonia's economic recovery has been remarkable over the last year. Livonia Vision 21 is truly transforming the way entrepreneurs and small business owners think about investment opportunities in our community. And again, I want to thank the City Council and our City Planning Commission and our leadership team for the benefits that you've brought to this community with this forward-thinking ordinance that you provided in Livonia Vision 21. Thank you all so very much for your ingenuity. And then on top of it all, add to the fact that Livonia continues to have the lowest tax rate in Wayne County. That remains an attractive feature for all of our businesses. You know, hundreds of jobs have been created through city incentives and partnerships, and the city of Livonia ended 2021 with a 2.1% unemployment rate, which leaves Michigan, the state of Michigan, and the nation at 5% in the dust. And while low unemployment rates like that are impressive, on the flip side, it creates a challenge for employers. And Livonia is an employer. We have 635 employees that we're responsible for. And like many of you, we have faced some of the same challenges that you've all faced in trying to find people to fill those spaces in our workforce. So we've taken action to navigate these challenges. We provided hero pay to the City of Livonia employees who worked through the COVID-19 pandemic, and we raised wages in key positions to ensure that the services and the programs that Livonia residents relied on continued. From transit drivers to custodians to lifeguards, we've done the important work of making Livonia a more competitive employer in a very tight job market. And along the way, we've done, I think, a much better job of marketing a number of incredible opportunities that people have when they come to be part of the City Hall and the City of Livonia family. Another recent challenge is the challenge that many of us have navigated, we have dodged, we have bounced over, our condition and the maintenance of our roads, and in particular, our roads in the City of Livonia. No doubt. It was a really tough winter for the state of Michigan, and our roads took a beating. But I am proud of the way that our city stepped up and responded to the needs of our residents. I'm proud of the way that we embraced our goal to use technology to move our city further faster by rolling out the City of Livonia App just in time for pothole season. The timing was amazing. The app actually lets you do a number of things. It lets you report a number of different kinds of problems. It alerts you to things that are going on in the community. But this season, nothing was more important than its ability for us to know where the potholes were and where we needed to go to fix things. One of the beautiful parts of the app, though, is that, you know, for the most part, people don't understand if they're driving on a city road or they're driving on a county road, right? So when they report the pothole, the call goes out to the appropriate agency, whether it's the city or the county, to alert them to the fact that there is something that needs to be fixed. And in this case, you know, Wayne County really did step up to the challenge and rush into the City of Livonia. And I want to thank Terry Marecki in particular for being our advocate and our champion in making sure that Wayne County paid attention to a large number of problems that were happening in our city. But thanks to this app, a lot of people did register pothole complaints, and they got fixed. So I think that is worthy of a round of applause. This app, along with a whole host of other online platforms like it, are the future of local government. So I ask you to watch for more apps, more QR codes, more online connections. These are some of the greatest examples we have of how we are really working to meet our residents where they're at so that we can then go and provide top quality service for our residents. And what kind of mayor would I be if I didn't spend a little bit of time talking to you about our roads in general and how we're funding them? Our road millage is set to expire this year, and it has served us really well for the past 9 years. So along with the City Council, we're going to be asking residents to renew that road millage this year. Over the last 20 years, the roads millage has reduced the number of local road miles in Livonia that are in poor condition by 80%. So we have brought our roads from a fair or a not good position up to a good position. 80% of our roads have been transformed in that way. And that is really important as we embark on big projects like Livonia Vision 21, like trying to make Livonia a destination of choice for people. Making sure that we maintain a solid infrastructure is really important. So neighborhoods across Livonia have seen the results. The roads millage renewal is essential, like I said, to Livonia Vision 21, and it is my hope that you join me in sharing the importance and the success of this program. I want to recognize Brett Gierek, who's sitting in the room today, and Brett has agreed to serve as the chairperson for this year's road millage campaign. Brett, I want you to stand so people can see who you are. So if you want to make a donation, if you want to help out, Brett is your guy. So let's talk about Livonia Vision 21, because this is the part of the speech I actually could not wait to get to. This is super cool and super exciting. This is our long-range plan for how we are going to make Livonia the city that our children want to come home to. The master plan that was built by residents and adopted by the City Council in 2019 ultimately calls for the very first step, and the very first step is the relocation of the Livonia Senior Center. In order to make the Livonia Vision 21 a reality, it becomes imperative that we relocate the Senior Center to the Jack E. Kirksey Recreation Center, ultimately allowing the corner of 5 Mile and Farmington to be reimagined as a downtown, as identified in Livonia Vision 21. So we're following the plan. Therefore, we're calling the first part of this plan Project Catalyst, because that is what it is. This is the catalyst for moving the rest of this huge project forward that allows us to re-envision what that corner at 5 Mile and Farmington can ultimately look like. In addition to the fact that the master plan calls for it, there are some other really good reasons to relocate the senior center. The first is that we know that the current building has its limitations. And COVID-19 really helped us to understand that clearly. We know that we have a large senior citizen population. It's one of the other things that we learned during the course of the pandemic. We have one of the largest senior citizen population in the region. And we know that recreation opportunities are deeply valued in our community. And again, COVID-19 showed us that people really wanted to engage in more activities, more physical activities, many of them outdoors than we were able to engage in before. And they needed bigger spaces when they were indoors to engage in those activities. So as a result, we've been working to build the partnerships that are going to be ultimately necessary to bring our seniors a better recreation and a better health opportunity. Central to that partnership is Wayne County. And we could not have better advocates than we do in Wayne County, in Warren Evans and Terry Marecki. They are really working hard with us to bring a project forward that can ultimately come before the County Commission, which hopefully will help us to secure some of the money that we're going to need in order to re-envision what a senior center looks like, moving from its corner at 5 Mile and Farmington over to the rec center. So here are just a few of the images of some of the exciting plans that we have for a new senior center and what it can provide. You see it's got an open air concept when you walk into the reception area, and there's some graphics also up on the screen that show how we're going to break down the space inside so that there's more space and more opportunity for people to gather in larger, more flexible spaces. But usually big ideas cost big money. And we estimate that the cost of this project is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 million to complete. So we are on a mission, and we are working on this every day to secure funding from Wayne County, from the state of Michigan, and from the federal government. And I am so excited that just a couple weeks ago, we successfully secured our first $3 million toward this project through a federal appropriation that came to us via Congresswoman Haley Stevens. And she cannot be here today. I think a representative of her team is here today, but even if nobody is here today, we are still going to clap really loud and send her the tape, right? Congresswoman Stevens was the first to believe in this big, crazy dream that we had. And you never forget the first person who was there for you, so we are not going to forget her. So once the senior center is relocated adjacent to the rec center, the chance to redevelop that corner at 5 Mile and Farmington offers huge economic benefits for our region. It's those economic benefits that are helping us to make our case when we talk to Wayne County about how they can help us with some additional American Rescue Plan funding. So let's take a look at what this project looks like, okay? So just to orient you a little bit, when you look at this photo, imagine that you are floating above Bates, okay? That's your perspective. Close your eyes with me, imagine for a minute. Breathe in deep and you can smell it almost. The grease from the burgers and the fries. You get where we're at, okay? So you see that corner of 5 Mile and Farmington. Now imagine that we clear out the long vacated courthouse. We clear out the functionally obsolete senior center and the little restaurant and the office building on the corner. And suddenly, you have an entirely vacated corner, with the exception of Larry Niehazel Park, which remain there as open space. And that creates an amazing opportunity for a super unique public-private investment that could total more than $200 million worth of investment in our community. And we'll be looking for partners to make this happen. And I know there are some of them sitting in the room today. So this is our first pitch. Imagine with me now what this property could look like. We could see multifamily residential homes, walkable retail space, really the true beginning of that downtown concept that Livonia residents have talked about and dreamed about for as long as I've lived in Livonia. So make no mistake, this project is a transformational project for not just for our city, but for our entire region. Isn't this exciting stuff? You see why this is the part I wanted you all to get to with me? So I love telling the stories of the positive progress that we're weaving here in the city of Livonia. But just as important as these stories are, is our ability to get them out, to convey the information, to highlight the work and to highlight the programs. And you know what would make me really happy today is if when I left the room, you all said, you told me nothing new. I knew all this stuff anyway. That would mean we had ultimately succeeded in our communication effort, making sure that everybody knows what's happening in our city when in fact it's happening in our city. So one of the ways that we're working really hard to do that is through branding, in the way that we present ourselves to our community. So we're spending more time than ever before in the city's history, taking a look and working on our brand, making sure that it reflects back to the community and to the region all the incredible reasons why people want to come and why they want to live here and why they want to work here and why they want to build their businesses here. And we've learned that one of the aspects of our community that families value the most is the investment that we've made in building a city with many opportunities for healthy environments, for a healthy, rich lifestyle, rich in recreation, rich in access to parks. And that's why today I am super excited to reveal the new logo and the new branding for our Livonia Parks and Recreation Department. So come on, let's take a look. All right, now, I love the colors, I love the high energy of it, but I want to explain to you a little bit about the elements of it because I think you'll come to appreciate it like I have even more. Livonia's Parks and Recreation's new logo is a mosaic, and that's important because it's a symbol of what makes our Parks and Recreation offerings so special. It's that notion that we have a lot to offer on a lot of different platforms in a lot of different ways. The logo reflects the different ways to wellness and healthy living that are available in our community through our Parks and Recreation Department. It reflects that people of all ages and all abilities can come together in our programs and our events to access recreation opportunities that are designed to make their lives better. And it reflects the various facilities included in our Parks and Recreation Department. Everything from our senior center, hopefully our new senior center, to our rec center, to over 60 parks, including our Park of Greenmead, which you see there featured. You're going to be seeing this logo put to action starting today. So not only are we revealing it on the screen, but as you exit today out in the reception area, there's going to be a table set up, and you'll get to see some of the logo gear on people, some of the ways the logo is being used in different elements throughout the city. So watch for this. And I do think, like me, you're going to be captivated by the energy that it brings to our community and the energy that it's going to help us bring to the messaging that's important. The City of Livonia is a community that's committed to healthy living, and we're lucky to have partners like Healthy Livonia, many of whom are in the room today. So I want them to stand. This is St. Mary Mercy Hospital. The Livonia, if you're with one of these organizations, stand up, because I want people to see the impact of how many folks are engaged in this effort. St. Mary Mercy Hospital, the Livonia Chamber of Commerce, if you're from Livonia Public Schools, please stand, Clarenceville Schoolcraft College, and Madonna University. This is a team of people who, along with the City of Livonia, are engaged in this amazing mission to make sure that Livonia is, in fact, one of the healthiest places to live in the United States of America. And soon we are going to be prepared to capture that designation. So thank you all for your dedication to that. And we're also lucky that in Lansing, there are people who get it, who understand how important those elements are to lifestyle choices. This year, we're going to be breaking ground on a new senior playground at Bicentennial Park. And it is one of the first of its kind in the state. So, if you happen to be a senior citizen and you want to get out, you want to play with your grandkids, and you want someplace to take the toddlers, and you haven't been able to find a space that everybody can enjoy, that everybody can truly engage in, play in, our Livonia Senior Playground is going to be that special place. We're especially grateful to Senator Dana Pohanke and to State Representative Lori Pohutsky, who cannot be here with us today. They are in Lansing, hopefully shaking more money out of the trees for us, but they were really instrumental in securing the $1 million that we needed in order to build this playground. So a big round of applause for them. So we as a city are committed to telling our story in compelling and engaging ways and using every immediate opportunity that we have available to us. Recently, we transformed our city newsletter into a magazine which we call Connections, and it already, in the very first issue, received an award from the Michigan Association of Parks and Recreation. So this is a magazine that is going to land in people's mailboxes 3 times a year, and it includes updates on programs and events, but it also works to help us to tell our story. Whether there are positions that are available for people to hire into, it talks about the progress that we're making on key issues and projects like the new rec center or the senior center, and highlighting ways for residents to get more involved in our community. You're going to find it all in Connections magazine, so you're not going to want to miss out on your issue when it arrives on your mailboxes. And of course, we're continuing to engage with our residents online and on social media. And over the last year, we have really seen our engagement numbers increase, as you can see from the graphic behind me. So we're coming close to the end of this year's story. And I really hope that I have made it clear that not only are we ready to tell our story in Livonia, but my goodness, do we have a good story to tell. A year ago, I told you that the state of our city's future was going to be ours to shape. Well, we are shaping Livonia's future every single day. We are engaging in delivering results for our residents. We are driving forward on new opportunities, on public safety, on infrastructure, on health and wellness, and we are strengthening our local economy. But I need your help a little bit. I need to amplify this message. I need to make sure that it gets out even further than the 320 of you in the room today. There are thousands of people to reach with this message. So I do have a call to action for all of you. First of all, tell us your story by completing the community satisfaction survey that we're launching online today. And tell us what it's like to be a resident or a business in our community. The City of Livonia has not done a community satisfaction survey before, and as a service provider, I think it's ultimately important that we ask ourselves on an ongoing basis, how are we doing? How are we doing? And this is what's going to help us to do that. So there's a QR code on the front of the annual report, and there's one up on the screen. And if you click on it, you're going to get a chance to fill out the form. It only takes a few minutes, you know, those SurveyMonkey things, super simple, super easy, and tell us what you think. Secondly, I'm going to ask you to help us find other people who can help us to write the story. Other people who want to engage at some leadership level, either with some of our boards or commissions or serving our Livonia Service Corps. You know, board and commission members are really at the heart of driving our agenda forward. There is so many more stories that they're engaged in that I just don't have the time to share with you today, but please know that these are people that are immensely valuable to the ongoing effort that we have in our community. So if you know of people that should be raising their hands, help them to get in touch with us. Some of the examples of work that our boards and commissions are doing, some really exciting examples, and again, this is not going to cover all of them, is the One City, One Book program, Greenmead 365, and helping imagining the new branding for the Parks and Recreation logo. That came from our Parks and Recreation Commission. And there are countless other initiatives that we rely on residents for to help us to move our agenda forward. So I want to back up. Speaking of One City, One Book, this is a favorite project. And today we get a chance to announce the book that the community is going to engage in reading next year. It's Frederick Bachman's Anxious People. This year, the themes of this book are focused on mental health and mindfulness. And we think that these are things that people are going to be talking about. This is a work of fiction, and the idea is that we start in June, and by the time we get through September, we have done a number of things, programming and reading around this, and engaging with book clubs, and engaging with schools and students. And before you know it, everybody in the community is talking about how we get better at mental health, how we get better at mindfulness. And we use this book as the backdrop for how we do that. I'm also grateful to the Library Commission for their work. This is the second year now, along with the library staff, that they've put the energy and the time into bringing this program forward. And it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the financial support of the Livonia Community Foundation and the Masco Corporation. And both of those organizations are here today. So let's let them know we appreciate them. So while I've got a second here, I want to encourage you to consider championing the causes and groups that matter a lot to our community. There's one in particular, the Livonia First Responders Foundation, that supports the mission of our police and our firefighters beyond their job duties. And it provides them the extra comfort and the aid for residents sometimes that are in need. I want to thank Chuck Dardis. Chuck is in the room. Chuck, if you would please stand. Chuck's with Alpha USA. You've heard his name earlier today. Chuck is an amazing board member for the foundation, and he works really hard at making sure that there are these big, glamorous things that come to our community that people rally around supporting. And there was a fancy motorcycle, and there was recently a golf cart that was auctioned off. One was blue, one was red. Get the theme? And Chuck is really the brain power behind all of that. So thank you, Chuck. And finally, the third thing that I need you to do is to join me in being a storyteller. So next week, we're going to release a 5-minute version of the State of the City. Yeah, you all had to sit through 45 minutes of this. We can actually do it in 5. And it is really fun because there's a clock that counts down next to me, and it's a race to the finish to see if I can actually get all of this information packed into a quick 5-minute presentation. But it's going to go out online, and if you would share it using your social media networks, that would be huge. So that would be a really great thing, and I ask that you help us to get that message out. We're also sharing the link from today's presentation on YouTube, as we mentioned before, as well as all of our social media networks and outlets, and we encourage you to do the same thing. And then last, on your seat is a copy of our annual report. Now, this is the second data-driven year that we've issued the annual report in this way, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit. When we first started doing the annual report, and it's always been this way in the city, it's like an 85-page snoozer document of just type, copy, word after word after word, and I would read it when I was on the city council because it had so much energy in it, but it didn't look like that. So now what we've done is we've taken it, we've made it, really a lot more concise. We've put a lot of data around it because we want to begin to measure what we're doing. If you don't measure it, it doesn't happen, right? So this is a way of measuring our progress, and you're going to see all of the stories that I didn't have time to talk to you about, all of the awards that I didn't have time to acknowledge our amazing department heads for, are all talked about in that annual report, and I promise you will not snooze through it. So, the state of our city is strong. We have a great story to tell. So I invite you to all to join me in telling it. And thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. Thank you. If I could get my department heads on stage again. All department heads, I'm going to ask the department heads to come forward because I need that group shot again. These are the leaders in our community that I talked about that make really cool things happen. We're going to open the back doors so the rest of you can head to the reception. But if you could all come on up for a quick photo first. Enjoy the rest of your networking, everybody, and I will see you in the reception hall.